cutting off internet in Canada, and who really owns the U.S. government. It's 5 in 10 from Skywatch TV. That's 5 things you need to know in about 10 minutes for October 7th, 2025. I'm Derek Gilbert. Please follow us throughout the day. You can follow us on X, formerly Twitter, at 5_in_10. We also have a new channel on Telegram. If you're on Telegram, please look up the 5 in 10 channel and follow us there. We post items there throughout the day. Item number 5 today, Israel. I've got to correct something that I told you about last week. Talked about Israel paying influencers. There was a report by a group that called Responsible Statecraft. They were drawing on information from a group that is linked to Qatar that claimed that Israel was paying up to $7,000 to influencers for every positive post that they got online. Turns out that happens not to be the case. An independent journalist, Eitan Fischberger, who's written for the Wall Street Journal, National Review, The Hill, among other publications, he dug into the numbers, found the invoices, and did some actual, journalism, like math, and found that the actual amount paid by Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs is between $450 and $750 per post. Now, you might think that that's, still shocking. Israel's paying influencers to try to influence the United States. Every foreign government is doing this. And what Israel is paying is considered, in influencer terms, well within the normal mid-tier range. When it comes to Israel, of course, the $7,000 figure per post is the one that the corporate media went with, because when it comes to Israel, facts generally don't matter. And that leads to point number 4 today, which is Qatar. Who really owns the U.S. government? Who is really buying influence in the U.S.? It's not Israel. I mean, Israel is trying to do it, but it ain't even close when it comes to where Israel ranks on the list of nations spending money to try to influence the United States, not just through government, but through the media, through influencers, and through our colleges and universities. Every single nation is using influencers. Qatar does that. Qatar has targeted some 250 influencers, especially since President Trump was reelected in 2024. As of today, there are 788 active FARA registrants in the United States. FARA is the Foreign Agents Registration Act. In other words, if you're in the U.S. and you are shilling for a foreign government, you have to register as an agent representing a foreign government. Japan has the most active registrants, that's 53, but proportionally, Qatar has more in Washington, D.C. and the surrounding area than any other nation. Since Trump's first election in 2016, Qatar has spent nearly $250 million on 88 FARA-registered lobbying and public relations firms. And between 2021 and 2025, in other words, during the Biden administration, Qatar's agents reported 627 in-person meetings with political contacts inside the U.S. In other words, people in government at one level or another. And that is more than any other country in the world. More than China, more than Russia, more than the UK, more than Israel. It's Qatar, that little country on the Arabian Gulf. Critics love to claim that Israel buys Washington, D.C., but according to Open Secrets, the top spenders on FARA registrants since 2016, China is number 1 at about $460 million. China, number 1. Number 2, Japan, $436 million. Number 3 on the list, Liberia. Liberia, $353 million. Qatar is number 8 at $258 million. Okay, this is again spent through agents registered with the Foreign Agents Registration Act, FARA. Qatar is number 8, $258 million. Israel is 11th on the list. They spent $193 million between 2016 and today. That 11th place slot, by the way, is just behind the Bahamas and just ahead of Bermuda. And you don't hear anyone saying, the Bahamas owns the U.S. government. Washington Examiner exposed last year that since Trump's win in 2024, Qatar is investing a lot of money to influence conservative media. over half of its foreign agent outreach now targeting right-leaning media outlets. This includes paying $180,000 per month on an agency that managed to get Tucker Carlson to interview the Prime Minister of Qatar. Tucker Carlson. In March of last year, it was reported that a Qatari royal family member invested about $50 million into Newsmax, a pro-Trump cable news channel that has since softened its coverage on Qatar. Remember, Qatar is the country that has been hosting the leadership of Hamas for years now. And then there's this, which we've talked about previously. Qatar has invested $6.3 billion in American colleges and universities, making it the largest foreign funder of U.S. colleges and universities in history. Again, not even close. And by the way, the Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi, prior to her appointment to that position, was a registered agent for Qatar. And yet the outrage over influence on our government is all directed at Israel. Says more about the people making the accusations than about reality. Topic number 3, Canada. Well, in spite of multiple international statements framing internet access as a human right, the Liberal government of Canada is now pursuing legislation that would allow them to just cut off citizens from the online world just because a minister says so. This is Bill C-8, undergoing its second reading in the House of Commons. This includes a provision under which the government in Ottawa can pull internet services from, quote, any specified person, end quote. Why? It just requires the personal order of the Minister of Industry in consultation with the Public Safety Minister. Apparently, this would mean that if they think you are somehow a threat to the government, maybe you posted hurty words about Prime Minister Mark Carney, no internet for you. None of this requires a warrant. Oversight only kicks in after the fact. They don't need to explain why they want to do it. They first do it, and then a federal court can subject the decision to judicial review. Needless to say, the conservatives are arguing against this, but this is a trend around the world. This is like the World Health Organization claiming that it needs the power to fight mis, dis, and malinformation by categorizing that as infodemics, a threat to public mental health. Being a liberal, a progressive in the world today means being able to censor the information that gets to you because you, dear viewer, are not capable of processing information that they deem mis, dis, or mal. Topic number 2, Etsy witches. Yes, you can buy curses online now, multiple media outlets encouraging readers to use Etsy witches for personal gain. This includes the outlet Jezebel. You can kind of get an idea of where its target audience is by the name. Jezebel is facing criticism for paying witches to put a curse on Charlie Kirk prior to his assassination. According to the Christian Post, the Washington Post, one of the media organizations facing backlash for an article, want to get rid of a toxic ex or curse someone, hire an Etsy witch. The media company tied together Etsy and the rise of witches as a low-cost service. But there are others, Business Insider, the Wall Street Journal, and others are promoting what they're calling a cottage industry of witches that you can go to Etsy, hire them to curse, bless, whatever. This is just a reminder that we are living in a real spiritual war between the forces of darkness and the gospel, the light of Jesus Christ. These media outlets are portraying it as something, just, cultural trend, something fun, lighthearted, nothing to worry about, nothing to see here, citizen, just move along. Just pray for discernment on the part of people who are reading these articles. This is the enemy, principalities, powers, cosmic rulers over this present darkness, using this kind of influence to move people to the dark side. Coming up, a failure for electric vehicle chargers. That's next on 5 and 10.
Pedophiles and groomers are more likely to find your child through the use of social media apps, and they'll start a process called grooming.
It's a word that you've heard a lot over the last decade. Groomers exploit foster children in particular because they have a series of attributes that these human traffickers and groomers are looking for.
Most of how human trafficking begins is actually through social media.
They're looking for young people that have a history of running away. So when nobody knows where they're gone, nobody's looking, because they have a history of running away.
Some of the common misconceptions of human trafficking and child abuse, these are all just overseas cartels that show up with white vans and abduct women in the middle of the night.
They're looking for young people with suicidal thoughts or have had adverse childhood experiences. Hello.
They will groom these children by using often fictitious photographs or personas, or pretend to be a sugar daddy.
Pay attention if young girls without money come home with pedicures. Where were you? Oh, no, boyfriend, he's taking good care of me.
The parents don't even ask how this has happened, but it's because they've met up in the middle of the day with someone looking for love who is uncomfortable with being maybe moderately older than what is legally allowed, but I'm gentle.
The number one thing that you can do to make sure that one of your children does not become one of these children is to be present and to be very visible. None of this stuff where your little kids are doing the tricky little selfies and they're on social media and you have no idea who they're talking about.
And slowly over time that becomes, to say toxic is the understatement of the century. It becomes basically a handler/slave type relationship where the children are abducted and eventually not permitted to go home and forced here in the country into forced prostitution at the behest or the handling of a John or someone that's controlling their schedule.
Item number one today, EVs are not the future. A new report by a group called Charger Help shows that while 64% of us Americans now live within 2 miles of an EV charging station, I guarantee you that's not us out here in the Ozarks. Nearly 1/3 of charging attempts fail. So even if you get to the charging station, it may not be compatible with your vehicle. Despite charging infrastructure that shows about 99% uptime rates, that just shows that they're drawing power. It doesn't show that only 71% of the attempts to charge vehicles actually succeeds. This report analyzed more than 100,000 charging sessions over 2,400 charging stations, and the report argues that the first-time charge success rate is much, much lower than the uptime rate, and that's what really matters. If you get to a charger that appears to be working, but you can't get it to actually communicate with your EV, it doesn't help you at all. Now, I've only owned internal combustion engine vehicles, but I don't recall ever having a problem at a gas station with a pump not being compatible with my old Honda CR-V. Problem is that they may have incompatible software, and as the equipment ages and you buy new vehicles, again, compatibility issues. Not to mention the fact that our aging electric infrastructure not able to handle the demand for power by these electric vehicles. I think this fad is going to fade fairly soon. This week on Skywatch TV, we're talking about this summer's camp at Whispering Ponies Ranch, the camps that changed lives of children at risk, and how your support made it possible. Joe Artis Horn and the team from Whispering Ponies Ranch sharing stories of lives changed and how you made that possible. You can watch the program right now at skywatchtv.com. You can watch it over the air. Our broadcast schedule posted at skywatchtv.com/channels. You can watch on your schedule. That is, if you've got a set-top box or smart TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, Google TV, Android TV, go to their app store, find the Skywatch TV channel, install it, and we'll be there whenever you click your remote. You can watch us on the internet as well, youtube.com/@skywatchtelevision. Please subscribe, share, click the bell for notifications, hit the like button, rumble.com/skywatchtv, or download our free mobile app to your smartphone or tablet, whether it's iOS, Android, Amazon, Kindle Fire. We've got apps for all of those and links to their app stores at skywatchtv.com/app. 5 in 10 is online. You can find us on Telegram, the 5 in 10 channel there. You can also follow us on X, formerly Twitter, at 5_in_10. And on YouTube, at 5 in 10 is the address. Please subscribe, share, click the bell for notifications, hit the like button, and leave some comments below. Helps us with the algorithm. And thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert. This is 5 in 10 from Skywatch TV.